Alright, how you doing? This is another response to 86 Ninja ZX600. Had a couple carburetor questions I'm going to try to help you out on. Um, I know you were having problems with the rev, and that was really the same problem that I was having, after I put my bike back together. Other than if you've taken the head gasket off and, you've messed with the antifreeze coolant pipes and stuff like that, make sure that, if you thought you might have broken a bolt or, one of them was stripped or you messed with, because I even did a valve adjustment and I had to go back and look over everything and replace a couple screws. And that was actually my problem, why I wasn't able to get up in the higher RPMs and, ride the bike. Almost like yours, would stay at an idle, somewhat. If you go to rev it, it kind of bogs out and it's bogging. It doesn't go over like 3,000-4,000 RPMs. But I was able to fix that just by broken bolts. But if you don't have anything like that, these are just some of the basics of the carb setup here. Obviously, this side is for your filter side, and this side here is going to be going into your bike. Like before, these two on the ends, all four of these are your vacuum ports. These two on the end, I was able to just cap off, and these two come up and come together in one of those T connectors. So they come up, go together, and then as one they go to the petcock vacuum. Alright, and then the one in the center here, I don't know how well you could see it, but that one right there in the center is your gas line. Now I know you had some questions. Kind of hard to tell in the video. My camera sucks. Let me see if I can get something to point it out to you by. These two ports here are, let me just get this pointer out. There's a port way up there, and on the other side there's one up there. I actually, if you face those down, sorry about that. If you push those down, this is actually how I had them. Facing towards the bottom, like they're coming out. And just like the two vacuum ports, I had them coming down under, and this one actually came all the way over, and this one came down, and they connected right around here with another T, and then they went off kind of to the side. Now all that really is, I'm pretty sure, is for a gasoline overflow. Like if your carbs for some reason are like filled up, it's some sort of like overflow, and it pushes excess, the gas and any sort of air or whatever that's not supposed to be up that high, because this is like where your regular float is for your gas levels, and then it gets sprayed straight back into your bike. So I think if anything goes up and over that, it's supposed to just kind of drain over and out. I don't know if you could see it, but I have it on my carb setup right there. Now you can see there's even, you could see that little yellow tint because some gas was draining out of there. But that's all I have for those two. And I don't have, like I said before, I don't have the filters on there because, I was getting a little overflow. For some reason, my float isn't set up correctly. Even though I've set it like 15 times, it just isn't happening. But I'm able to, get the bike going, and all I'm really having to do is shut off the fuel line before I shut the bike off. So, I'll shut the line off and then I'll let it burn up in the carbs, and then I'll shut the bike off so it doesn't drip everywhere. Because with my bike, it'll just keep coming in and coming out. So, other than that, a couple things you might want to try. Make sure you have really good seals. Give me a second here. Maybe I can find one of them. Might not, but I had a couple of the seals here. I was hoping to show you, but I don't think I could find them. I don't know where they're at. But I mean, you'll know they're the same as you know, a vacuum line. All it is just a cap. It almost looks like a pencil eraser. You just boop, pop it right on there. And you know, as long as you got a good seal on that, you know, make sure your carbs are tight to your, you know, to the engine. And you know, those two in between there are just the gas runoff, and this is obviously your main gas intake. Um, Other than that, I never asked you if your carbs were jetted. Mine happen to be jetted, so what I have to do is reset the idle mixture screws, which are actually right here. These are going to be closer to the body of the bike here. You know, this is the filter side, this is the body. These ports right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, these are your idle screw mixtures. That, you know, judge how much gas and air mixture you're getting. And what I had to do, if you do, you know, if you don't, I can't really tell you what the measurements are, but let me do what I had. Find a screw or a flathead. There we go. Okay, what I had to do, it might not work on these because you know, this has been sitting for a while, but what you want to do, because I have a Dynajet Stage 3 kit in mine, which means it's pretty much jetted out as much as you can. So what you do is you just turn it in all the way clockwise, you know, clockwise as much as you can go. So the tip of the flathead is right here. You know, you can see it's facing this way. So what I had to do, since I have a Stage 3 jet, is you go 1, 2, 3, and then you're set. Another thing you want to do is, like, when you're tightening them down all the way, don't go crazy and tighten them down. You don't have to do that. Once it stops your screwdriver, like with your front two fingers, boom. Once it stops, that's it. And then you just back out. 1, 2, 3, and then they're set. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, do it up, and then that should set your set your idle mixture. If you have a regular jet kit in there, I don't think it's as much as 3. I think it may be closer to 2, but you might have to check your manual for that. I honestly don't know that. But yeah, once you have your mixture set up, I mean, I don't know if you had any issues with the carbs. I mean, don't use any like crazy chemicals. Just buy, yeah, this is the stuff I use just to give you, you know, an idea of what I'm working with. Is I got it at like AutoZone, Gunk carburetor and parts cleaner. It's awesome, man. I mean, if you have patience, which I don't, but you know, every once in a while, I'm able to let this part sit overnight, and it is like night and day difference. I soaked a 1970 Beetle carburetor in there for probably 12 hours, and it came out looking like, you know, it just rolled off the factory. So stuff works pretty good. I wouldn't use anything other than that. Don't use like this shit here, starter fluid. Don't use that shit, because all it's going to do is fire your bike up for a second, and that's it. It's not going to be a permanent fix. So take the carbs off and clean them if you need to. I mean, if not, usually these things don't get really dirty unless the bike's been sitting for a long time. So if you've cleaned them, you know, make sure all your gaskets here on the bottom of the floats are good, and just, you know, spray. If you have an air compressor, you know, spray out the jets. If you don't, I really do suggest getting an air compressor. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but, you know, after I got my air compressor, I've used it about 600 times, you know, and half the time cleaning carbs, because it, you know, makes a hard job really easy at spraying everything out. So it's really all I could suggest. You know, set the idle screw mixture, make sure everything's tight and clean, and you know, once you have the bike revving, you know, this is your idle adjustment. This goes on the bottom of the carbs here. Just, you know, tighten it up. I mean, if you're not staying at an idle, once you take the choke off, just you know, if the bike dies, leave the bike off. You know, tighten that up a couple turns and fire the bike up again and see if it works. So, all right, man. Hope that helped you. Take care.